Now, when you think of bisexuality, it's not simply a male or a female, by the way, with the two opposite or same sex either. It's also if two women are with one man, or four, like with Jacob, right, for example, right? Or again, right, if a woman has two or more men, right, again, right. That's still being a little bisexual, yes it is. For both sides, right? Or all the above, right? So that still gives you four choices in it as well. I know. See, some people are cookie cutters. In other words, they only see one way you can do something. But a ninja, for example, is taught to look at all different ways you can do something. Right. Now, they base it on the elements earth, wind, fire, and water. Right. So, again, earth is kind of, more grounded in bisexuality, might be more, again, simply male with female or male, right? Or female with male or female. That's kind of the grounded way to look at it, or the earthly way. Water is if you're with probably more than one, right? Again, the male can be with two females, or a female can be with two males, right? Though again, that's still basically the choices you have, right? Even in bisexuality, right? So there's still choices, right? You can make if you're bisexual, right? Some say when you're saying you're bisexual, you just want to be with the male or female. No. It's more complicated than that. See, that's just simplifying it, right? Right. And see, there are also examples in the Bible. Even the woman caught in adultery, she was with two men, right? For example, but not at the same time at two different times, right? But she still had a husband she would probably go back to and either not have sex with him or have to have sex with him too because he was her legal partner, you know what I mean, too. Right. So she was still under an obligation, right, to have sex with her husband as well anytime he wanted as well, especially back then, right? Even if she was committing adultery against him, right? And got caught with the man she was with. I know. See, that'll still being a little bi or two or more sexual for her too. Now, if Jesus was with the woman at the well, then I say he had an arranged marriage, right? And the marriage in Canaan would fit where an arranged marriage would happen, probably too. Right. At the woman's home, not his, by the way. The father of the bride is where the marriage is usually conducted, right? Except with Isaac and Rebecca, where again, right, Rebecca was bought to Isaac. Now, all he did with her, though, was take her straight into the tent and started humping her, right? And she became his wife, right? You're complicating marriage sometimes, too, right? It's as simple as two becoming one flesh, meaning sexually, right? But again, when you're reading this in a book, you got to understand the whole timeline, and again, before and during and after the law, and again, what the law serves, right? And that you're now back under grace, right? You're not as judged as harshly, as you were under the law either. Christ using grace to cover you, right? Depending on the mistakes you make and how severe they are, and if you confess them or admit them or not, right? Too. Y'all forgetting that too, right? Is masturbation as bad as sex? No. But again, you want to condemn masturbation and sex so the person can't do either or, but then, right, what can they do? Right. sexually to relieve the tension, right? So you're frustrating somebody, right? To think they have to find a way, and this is where rape might come in, right? To relieve their sex sexually with someone of the opposite sex if they're straight or gay, right? You know what I mean, right? Or vice versa. If a gay man wants sex and he can't do all that, well, you're limiting his choice, right? I know. So it all applies no matter what you're doing, right? But that's what's frustrating about it. It's very complicated, all the things you can do. Now, like I said, being with 17 women myself, I had 17 women to wife. One of them did legally marry me, under the premise that I had also gotten her pregnant within a month after meeting her, too. Right. And her child came within that time span. But now the son is saying he did a DNA test and he's not my son. Right. Now, like I keep telling you, some women are single mothers. Right. Nothing wrong with that. No. In other words, she wanted the baby more than she wanted the husband. Yeah. Right. Or again, right. Whatever the situation may be, right. Or it was a sudden encounter. She said yes, and then she changed her mind, but then it was too late, but then she still consented, but then, right, whatever. Like me and Molly, right, well, she got on top. We were watching the movie. It was spontaneous, too, right? But at the same time, she turned it into saying it was rape, right? Then I had to tell my mom that, right? So she's looking crazy, right? Not me, no, you. And she didn't even do that all at once, right? See, I'm freaking out. She's freaking out, right? Especially more after the sex occurred, right? I know. Because it kind of was called spur of the moment, right? Sex, too, right? We're watching Cinemax at night, and I rub her a little bit and ask her if she wants to get on top. She gets on top, and it's over quickly, right? Because neither one of us, I guess, have been doing something in a while. I don't know. See, I also don't know when the last time she had sex was either, but don't know. I know she had been with me for another week or so as well, or whatever, however long it was, right? So I was open to her, right? She was obviously open to me, but then because of our friendship factor, right? And her not wanting to see that as a relationship too, which is part of what she is to not even call me anymore, right? Which makes her seem crazier, don't it, right? Again. But there's a story behind it all too, right? See, it's not just wham bam, thank you, ma'am, on my part, right? It's also on her part, right? Wham bam, thank you, sir, right? I know. So it takes two to tango, right? At any one time, right? And the thing about not remembering anything is the person can't prove you weren't knocked out, right? Or they didn't have to force you to do it, right? Now, if a male forces a male, that's automatically rape. No, yes it is. Men can rape men. No. Women can rape women too. Ask women in prison. Yeah. But they don't use it. They don't have a thing to put into you, or do they? Or do they? See, women can rape you like they're men with their fingers or with even objects, right? Other women. But that's what you're not thinking about. Yeah, how they can do it to another woman without being a woman, right? But they can, right? They can even force oral sex on you again, and it's not that it don't necessarily feel good or bad, right? It's more how you're handling it up to that point, right? Now, if you don't say nothing, the person says you can say yes or no, or I know yes means no and no means yes, but That can confuse you, but again, you can still say no or yes, right? Is the whole point. No. Now you go into a new place you've never been in before, and it's a nail salon, and again, that's a different situation. But the person working there knows the whole salon. You don't, right? And if she took you somewhere else and had sex with you, she's being the aggressor, right? Not you. You don't know where you're even at or what you're doing yet. Yeah. Or her age. You have to ask her those questions. And I asked. Why did I ask? Well, someone's messing with you on YouTube already before you went up there. That's why. They must also have been messing with you too. But you listened to them the wrong way just as I didn't know they meant you, right? Or who they meant either, right? But you knew they meant me, more than I knew they meant you, right? That's what it comes down to, honey. Who made you think what you thought that you had to do something of that caliber, right? Or that drastic of a measure to do something about me just going into your server for a nail job initially. Which is all I expected in a legal business, right? Is to go and get my nails done and get out and go see the movie, right? Like I told you before, right? About all that. Mm-hmm. Now, what's making you mad is he also, whoever put you up to it, entrapped you into doing it. You don't want to blame him, you still want to blame me, right? And you're more angry with me than him, right? When he did it to make you think you had to do it too, when I was trying to make you think you didn't have to do it, right? At all. See, that's the point too, right? So who confused you the most is the person who made you think you had to do something about it sexually, right? Not me, not you. I wouldn't make you think you had to do anything with me sexually, right? Which was my point to the other person, right? Not knowing who you even were still until I went into the store, right? And then having to ask you questions to find out about you personally. That means I knew nothing more about it. No matter what he told you about it, I knew or didn't know, right? And then he's trying to make it seem like I'm predicting things when it's coincidental things, right? That's the thing too, right? When you're in a pattern, right, and you're doing similar things all the time, like this ain't the 58th football game involving the NFL today, right? But you know how it's going to basically work out, right? You just gotta let the game unfold and play out during the day as it may or may not, right? Like I said. But there are a lot of factors, including